are so happy this morning to have Joel Smallbone. He's with us today, and Joel is a member of the well-known group For King and Country. He leads the group with his brother, and they're now starring in a new film project called Priceless. Yeah. So would you please welcome with me Joel Smallbone.
Morning.
So Joel, it really is so great. I mean, a lot of people are very familiar with your music. You guys have had a huge, you've been a huge success. I heard somebody say you're Australia's response to Coldplay. That's pretty sweet.
It was sort of a high compliment.
Yeah, that's great. Sure. So most people know you for your music, but you guys are working on a new film project about human trafficking.
Yeah. Well, it's been a long time coming. So go back with me just a little bit. My oldest sister, originally from Australia, hope you can still tell, we live in Nashville, Tennessee now, y'all. Idiot man. But my older sister was an artist for many years by the name of Rebecca St. James, and she had a massive platform.
I've heard of her.
You've heard of her?
Yeah.
Oh, good. To all the over 35s out there, for Rebecca St. James. But she had a massive platform for chastity. And I remember Luke and I, before For King Country was formed, we were at it was a women's event, and Luke and I were like the two token guys at the women's event. We were backing Rebecca up, and we were doing a few of our own songs. And someone had come to us and said, hey, right before we stepped on stage, Rebecca, my mum, came and said, you've got a load of ladies here, you should share something. And for the first time that afternoon, we stood up and we shared about chivalry and about charging us as men to love well and celebrating a woman's worth. And when For King and Country began, one of the tangible things we did, Bobby, was we brought over a load of Australian 1-cent coins, we framed them, we made necklaces out of them, and we called it the Priceless necklace. Oh. And we've seen, I think, upwards of half 500,000 men and women, boys, grab one of these necklaces and rally around this cause. And so we went to our brother Ben a few years ago, simply, and said, we feel like there's a story that needs to be told here. What about taking this message to the silver screen? And Ben is a filmmaker, and his eyes lit up. And so literally from inception of this story to completion, we've been a sort of a part of every piece
of the journey. And then Priceless was that hit song. I mean, is that what the song Priceless was about?
Well, so Priceless, yeah. So For King and Country have a song called Priceless, but that actually came after the film. So we started working on the film, and a portion of it is set in human trafficking, and we were so moved by this message that we actually wrote a song out of that.
It goes something like this. Well, obtainable.
There you go. Yeah, you got it.
I don't know the lyrics.
You should.
Oh, so priceless. No, that's all I got. It's an awesome song.
Hey, we've been looking for a third member.
Hey,
do you want to join?
I know I've got this pastor gig thing, but
what do you think?
Maybe I don't know.
Join. Okay.
No,
they're supportive.
No.
Yeah.
No, they like me here.
You just got to learn the Australian dialect, is all.
I can do it. No, I can't. Holstez. No, I can't. But you know, we're one of the things we love about this is that this church and many others are really trying to focus on this big issue of human trafficking. And storytelling, movies in particular, are one of the best ways that you can bring light to that. Your character in this movie, I watched the trailer, it's so good, and he's really an anti-hero, isn't he? I mean, he's a bit of a, meaning that I talked about last week about how much I love anti-heroes because they show us that God likes to use imperfect people to do impossible things. And that's in a way what this character is in the movie.
For sure. Well, first of all, he's an American, so I had to lose the Aussie twang, if you will.
And it's great.
And, well, thank you. But he's a normal bloke. He's just struck with tragedy. He lost his wife in an accident and kind of derailed after that. As a result, his daughter was taken from him by protective services. And in really a last-ditch attempt to get his life back on track, to get his daughter back, he takes a transportation job to drive a truck straight through a long distance for cash. And midway through the trip, he finds out that it's not what he's carrying, but who he's carrying, that he's got two young ladies in the back of his truck. Invites them into the cab, and they mention that they're coming to be a maid and a waitress, and he takes them at their word and is really drawn to the strength and resolve and character of the elder of the two sisters. But no sooner than that, he gets to the drop-off point, realizes that he's incidentally and accidentally sold them into slavery, into trafficking. And at that point, he just, you can imagine, lost his wife, lost his kid, betrayed these two girls. He's beside himself. So he partners with a hotel owner in this small town by the name of Dale, played by David Koechner from Anchorman in The Office. And they become this kind of crime-fighting duo in an effort to get the girls back. All the while, the elder of the two sisters, Antonia, her kind of strength and resolve and faith is really changing him on more of a spiritual, emotional level. So she's really, in some ways, the real heroine of the film.
That's awesome, Joel. Well, what's the release date for the movie? What was it?
So it came out theatrically. It was a limited release last year, and it was the week it released. It was the #1 indie film in America, which
Awesome.
was really exciting for us. And on DVD, it'll be available. This will be the first time it'll be available worldwide. And to be able to take a message of hope and of love and of relationship, but also to deal with this tragic issue of human trafficking, which many of you might not know, in a few short years, if the trends continue, will overtake the drug trade as the largest illegal industry in the world.
Yeah.
And this is directly affecting our families, our children, and our children's children. And so I hope that this film will be a small part of starting a conversation for people to change, and for us as men, to pierce the heart of men, because this is like any good industry, it's a supply and a demand industry. If you get rid of the demand, which is by and large men,
Yeah.
the supply goes away. And so,
And not just prostitution, but pornography.
oh, well, that's where it starts statistically. Yeah.
And a lot of people think of slavery as this thing in the past, but I read recently that there's more slavery today than at any point in history, and it's in large part because of this.
It is.
Well,
and it's marginalized. It's children and it's women, and that's the hardest thing about it.
Well, it's such a dark and terrible thing that we all need to fight. And Joel, you're such a positive voice for that. Thank you for using your platform. You can use it for so many other things, but you're using it to make a difference for probably one of the biggest social issues of our age. And I believe history will remember you for that. And we're so thankful for you, Joel.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Thank you,
Joel Smallbone. What a joy and privilege to have you. God bless you.